Hey everybody, and welcome to another episode of Up Your Alley. It's a podcast with two best friends. That's me. My name is Taylor Edgar, and with me, as always, is my best friend Jake Baggett. Say hi, Jake.
Hey, buddy.
It's a show where we recommend things to each other, and then we come back the next week to talk about our recommendations and see how much it is up the other person's alley. You get graded on a scale of 1 to 3 based on how good your recommendation is. Right now, I have 55 points. Jake has 54 points. As we're coming in towards the end of the year, be sure to subscribe on whatever podcast platform you're listening to this on. And follow us on YouTube, Spotify, all the good stuff. There's the call to action. We're done. How you doing, Jake?
I'm doing great, buddy. How are you?
Doing good. I'm looking forward to this episode. This week we're talking about, it's a double Max week. Both of our recommendations were available to stream on Max.
Yeah.
Not sponsored by them, but we're open to it.
Good content on there.
Yeah, save me about $16 a month.
HBO Max.
Just Max.
I know.
If we're going with the brands, we got to be cool.
I really have to clean it up.
Yeah.
I know you want bands. I know you want bands so bad. Can we just have bands on here instead?
Absolutely.
Instead of brands?
100%. So the Double Max recommendation, two recent things as well. The animated series Jake recommended for me, Scavengers Reign, is available on Max. It's 12 episodes, 30 minutes apiece. Great animation from animation house Titmouse.
Yeah.
Probably best well known for their Adult Swim work, Metalocalypse, Venture Brothers, things like that.
Yeah.
And my recommendation for Jake, Love Has Won, The Cult of Mother God, the documentary series that just wrapped up. Both of these things came out last month. So they're still pretty good. But before we get into that, we got some other things to talk about. The Game Awards.
Yep, that happened Thursday.
They happened last week. So people that have been listening to the show know that we have talked about the Game Awards. We threw out what we thought would win. And the game that won, Baldur's Gate 3. Jake, how happy are you with that?
I expected it.
Yeah.
I'm happy with it because it's a great game, and I think it's awesome. I wanted Alan Wake 2 to win.
Yes.
Because
Alan
I
Wake
think
2 won like best story?
Best narrative design, or best director.
That's a fancy way to say story.
Yeah. But it's both games are completely awesome in like their own very unique ways. One's like a great RPG type of game, and one's a great narrative story driven game.
Yeah.
And to have both of those up in the same year was incredible.
It was kind of a crazy year for gaming when you look at it all together.
Because even I just started playing Hi-Fi Rush not too long ago.
How's that working for you?
That game's incredible.
Yeah.
So it's amazing that wasn't nominated as much, but it was a highlight year, and
For sure.
it was. I was excited to watch this live, and it was mostly ads.
Yes. Well,
Yeah.
I mean, that's how you get money for to put on something like that.
I get you, but like 30 seconds to listen. I want to listen to the
who's
developers.
the guy that hosts the whole thing? I always
Jeff
forget.
Keighley.
Jeff
It's
Keighley.
Jeff Keighley.
It's like his baby.
I think
essentially.
he just wants to rub elbows with famous people.
Yeah.
And not specifically Hollywood famous people.
Right.
Timothy Chalamet was there.
Last year wasn't Al Pacino there,
Yeah.
like just mumbling his way through whatever video games are about.
We don't need this.
No.
We don't need this.
But there were some. I think they did a pretty good job. So the 6 games that were nominated for Game of the Year: Baldur's Gate 3, Alan Wake 2, Super Mario Brothers Wonder, Resident Evil 4, Spider-Man 2, and Zelda: Tears of the Kingdom. I think most of those games got their due in other categories. Like award shows will kind of do this sometimes. Like they all get the banner
feels like
nominated
that.
for the banner award,
Yeah.
but then you get kind of your like side.
Consolation prizes.
Right. Like if your movie didn't win best picture, sometimes someone from that movie will get like best supporting actor or best director or something like that. So Baldur's Gate got Game of the Year, and then they got best performance for the guy that plays the
Astorian.
the blonde-haired guy that's in all the YouTube shorts that I see.
He's a great character. He's awesome. It's a wonderful balance because he's a thief character.
Right.
But he's very bougie. He's like a high-end type of
Comes
guy.
off a little foppish.
He's foppish.
Yeah.
But he's...
entertaining as hell. All the little shorts I see, and people like post little clips on Reddit or whatever. I'm like,
And his performance is immaculate.
Yeah.
Amongst a lot of great performances in that video game.
I
think Ben Starr from Final Fantasy 16 should have gotten it because I think his performance was more nuanced, I want to say, than a lot of video games typically have.
I thought they were going to give it to the guy that did Spider-Man, whose name escapes me right now. Because
No, I
I thought
didn't.
that was the way they were going to kind of like
Give it out
filter
to him
Yeah.
because they nominated Spider-Man for 7
Spider-Man walked
or
away
6
with
and they
walked
got
away
0.
nothing.
I really didn't think it deserves awards. I'm really sorry. I really enjoy the game. I think it's great, but it's stacked this year. It's really drowned out by the caliber of what we got to play.
I mean, you're not wrong. I mean, Super Mario Brothers Wonder was nominated for Game of the Year. I think it got Best Family Game.
Oh,
which is like, yeah, of course, it's the new Mario game. That's the best family game.
Dredge came out this year.
Dredge is not a family game.
Yeah, but I'm saying like that's another game that both me and you really liked. I played Chants of Sonar. Chants, like chanting,
like Gregorian monk chants.
Yes, of Sonar.
Is that like a Parappa the Rappa? Only
I played
really
that about
boring?
2 weeks ago. It's a great game where you're in a new world and you don't understand a language and you have to piece it together with clues. So you'll see like a switch and you'll see like words on the top, words on the bottom, and you flip the switch up and it'll open the gate. So you're like, oh, okay, so that word must be open. So you write it down in your little notebook that's open, and then that one must be off. So you write it down, and if you get enough, then it completes, like in Obra Dinn, where you get enough right, it solidifies it, and like, yep, you got that part right. Mm-hmm. And you just do that for languages.
That's pretty rad. What are you playing that on?
You can play it on your PlayStations, your Switches. Yeah, I think we played it on Switch.
Nice.
But that game was awesome.
Yeah.
And again, it's an indie game amongst a bunch of great indie games that came out this year.
Yeah, Sea of Stars won indie game.
Which should win it.
Yeah.
Apparently, I think we already talked about this. We're not even close to beating it.
No.
So
I was playing Sea of Stars, and then I got distracted. I think Spider-Man came out, and then I started doing
I thought
that.
I was getting to the tail end of it. And I talked to my friend who beat it.
It's a big game.
And I was like, I'm at the boat. And she's like, oh, you're not even close to it. You're not even close to the end. I was like, oh, cool. So it's going to open up even more.
It's going to be, there'll be a Dead Space, and not Dead Space, but there'll be a dead time in gaming that I'll go back to it. I mean, I will say this. I've been back on finally finishing up stuff in Outer Wilds. That was a recommendation a couple weeks ago.
Yeah.
That game's just so much freaking fun. Yeah. I'm getting all the little side trophies. I'm trying to get a platinum in that game, and I got the DLC.
That game is just incredibly fun.
You know, I just found out on my second. So one of the trophies you have to do is you have to get to the end game in the first time cycle.
Yeah.
So I did that, and it was during that playthrough that I realized that you can refill your jetpack.
Yeah, in the ship.
Yep. Just learned.
Yeah, dude.
That you can heal yourself and fill your jetpack.
Yeah.
That would have helped me so much in my first playthrough.
There's so much that the game just doesn't tell you.
I thought it was a constraint. Like, I thought it was just built in, like the time constraint that you have 22 minutes to do it. I was like, you start out with that jetpack, and that's all you can do.
Yeah. No.
Nope. I'm an idiot.
You're good.
Yeah. I should walk around and read things more often. Yeah.
You play it the fun way, so when you find it out, you're like, oh, cool.
Yeah. On my third or fourth playthrough. But Tears of the Kingdom got Best Action Adventure Game, which
I mean, that feels like
game of the year
prize because that game needs recognition for how great it is.
I said it, I think, when we talked about the nominations for this. I really feel like that game pushed the Switch to its limits. I don't think there's much bigger game that console can hold.
As far as an adventure game goes, that's like peak perfection to me.
Yeah.
That's what I love in an adventure game is so open to my creativity.
Right.
That it doesn't matter. I told you about how I solved one of the first shrines in it. It's just a really high cliff, and there's rockets laying all around you.
Oh, yeah.
And you're supposed to just know... Well, you're supposed to be like, oh, I put it on my shield, and I rocket up.
Zip up.
And all I did was take every rocket that I found, and I put them tip to tip, connected them all together in one big rope, big long stick, and I laid it down and climbed up it.
God, that game's great.
It worked out perfectly.
Yeah. So that's fun. I mean, I think it's going to be good. We're going to talk about this in our episode that'll come out on the 29th, kind of a look back and look forward. Right. One thing I did pull away from the Game Awards is one of both our most anticipated games of the year, Hades 2, was once again one of the most anticipated games of next year. Because, I mean, and I know nothing about what goes into making a video game or anything like that, so the fact that they're pushing it back a year, I'm like, good. And it's a smaller indie game, so...
Yeah. I mean, there's a deluge of games that we still have to play. So
yeah.
I'm not hurting.
We could really
when it comes out, I'm ready.
Yeah. We could do a podcast just on games.
Yeah.
Like, they're coming out rapid fire. Oh, speaking of which, did you see the Dredge Dave the Diver collaboration that's coming together?
Oh, no, I did not.
Yeah, they had a trailer for it on the Game Awards. They're doing essentially a Dredge expansion of Dave the Diver, where it's collaborating the two games.
Cool. So you're going to have Eldritch-style
the two
fish to grab.
Indie aquatic fish retrieval games.
Now, that was controversy, was Dave Diver not actually being an indie game.
Really?
Yeah, because it's from a kind of an actual big production company. So
Yeah.
people were like, does it really count as an indie game?
Right.
I don't know. I didn't really look into it that much. I mean, it looks like one of those things, like from the looks of it, it looks like an indie game. You know? But it might have been made by a big team, or it might have been made by a small group within that team. I didn't really look into it.
Right. It's just how you just define
Wild
things like that.
controversy. Yeah. Because I get that you want more representation of indie games. That's what I want. You know?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
So I get that that's a conversation that we definitely should be having, you know. But I don't know. Dave the Diver is a great game. Everybody should play it.
But where do you classify, where's the line between indie and that? It's like technically Star Wars is an independent film.
Right.
Because George Lucas made it
because it's outside of the studio development.
Exactly.
So, I mean,
but no one, when they
that's the
think,
thing,
what's your
is that
favorite
it
indie?
It is in the studio development.
Right.
Is the thing.
Yeah. But it's whatever.
So, yeah.
It doesn't matter.
It's a conversation that should happen.
It's all
but
fun.
I'm not smart enough to break it down for you.
No. That's. I think we've proven that over 50 some odd episodes of this podcast. We're not smart enough to break things down very well.
We just have good opinions about stuff.
Speaking of good opinions about stuff, we did get a kind of a response to our episode last week. Kind of a fun thing. Last week's episode, we talked about Jeff Bezos' rowing boat from the YouTuber Bobby Fingers.
Yeah.
And shortly after that episode went up, I just, I tagged him on Instagram. It's not like my people reached out to his people or anything like that. And we got a fun little voice message that he just said, thanks for the review. And if people listen to that episode, you'll know that Jake had a theory / kind of fever dream that it was all a metaphor for Mr. Fingers' time working at Amazon. And he said, in no uncertain terms, he said, thanks for the review. I never worked at Amazon.
So he just blew it right up.
But so cool for him to reach out to us like that.
Yeah.
He also pointed out that Jake's Irish accent is terrible.
Yeah.
And so I'm putting a moratorium on Jake doing accents. Just one at a time.
All of them?
Nope, just one at a time. Once someone from that place reaches out to us.
I can't do it anymore?
Like, if someone reaches out from Scotland and it's just like, Jake, no, you're not allowed to do that accent.
That'll make me right ragged, it would.
Is that Australian?
That is English person.
Nope.
That is an American doing an English accent.
Right in if you're upset with Jake's impression.
I'm the next Clive Owen.
I hope it's famous people that reach out to us about you doing their impression of them. Like just
if I impersonate actors from other countries.
Exactly. Just George Lucas reaches out. He's like, have him stop doing my voice.
No, it's not even close.
Exactly. Spot on. So yeah, shout out to Bobby Fingers. That was really cool that he reached out. And we're glad you liked the review.
Yeah, that's cool.
And so speaking of reviews, we're going to get into what we're talking about this week after just a quick message from our sponsor. Is something interfering with your happiness or preventing you from achieving your goals? Regardless if you have a clinical mental health issue like depression or anxiety, or if you're just a human who lives in the world and is going through a hard time, therapy can give you the tools to approach your life in a very different way. That's why I'm excited to tell you about today's sponsor, BetterHelp. BetterHelp's mission is to make therapy more affordable and more accessible, and that's important because finding a therapist can be really hard, especially if you're limited to the options in your area. BetterHelp is a platform that makes finding a therapist easier because it's online, it's remote, and by filling out a few questions, BetterHelp can match you to a professional therapist in as little as a few days. It's easy to sign up and get matched with your therapist, and there's a link in our description. It's betterhelp.com/Allie. That's betterhelp.com/Allie. Clicking that link helps you support this channel and also get you 10% off your first month of BetterHelp so you can connect with a therapist to see if it helps you. And because finding a therapist is a little like dating, if you don't fit in with your first therapist, and that's common, you can easily switch to a new therapist at no additional cost without the stress of insurance or who's in your network or anything like that. I'm a big proponent of therapy, and anybody that knows me can attest to the difference that it's made in my life the past couple years, and I recommend this program to anybody. So if you're struggling, please consider online therapy with BetterHelp. Click the link in the description or visit betterhelp.com/Allie. That's betterhelp.com/Allie for 10% off your first month. And we want to thank BetterHelp for supporting our podcast. All right, we're back. So let's get into Jake's recommendation for me first, which is the 2023 animated. It's listed as an animated limited series.
Yeah.
So I don't know if there's going to be another one, but it's what it is. I don't think they need to do another one.
Me neither.
I think it's great as it is. So it's 12, 20-minute or so episodes, so about 5.5 to 6 hours of playtime. Scavengers Reign, available to stream right now on Max. Jake, how'd you find this thing, and
Well,
Why'd you recommend it?
Friend of the show and previous guest, Chris, was back in Virginia for a little bit.
Yeah.
And he was staying with me while he was back on his trip, and he really wanted to see the show. So we're like, yeah, I'll watch an episode, see what it's like. In the first episode, I was like, yeah, I'll watch another episode. And before we knew it, we watched the whole thing.
Yeah.
We were like, because we got down to, we looked at how many episodes were left. They were like, there's 3 episodes left. And we're like, all right, let's just keep going. Let's just finish this off right now. Yeah, we've already passed the bump. So like we got hooked on it from the first episode.
Yeah, I will say it is pretty engrossing. It's a fascinating thing. So this basically the story of it is it starts out right in the middle of it. There's not really a big prologue. It does go back and forth with time jumps, everything like that. Mm-hmm. So it's set in the indistinct future somewhere. There's an interstellar cargo ship, the Demeter 227. It crash lands on a planet, and you're just dealing with the people from that ship.
Yep.
They're on this strange alien world, and there are 3 main groups of survivors. There's Sam and Ursula. Sam's like the captain of the ship. Mm. There's Cayman, who was just by himself.
Yep.
And then there's, what's her name? Ozzy.
Yeah, Ozzy.
And a robot, Levi. Mm-hmm. And so they're all trying to make their way back to the ship. They pull the ship down from orbit. Yeah. Everyone sees it.
Sam and Ursula were able to pull the ship out from the orbit to crash land onto the planet.
So essentially,
a controlled crash landing.
They all jettison from the ship. You find out later, no big spoilers for it, but you find out later there was a solar flare, kind of knocks the ship out of whack.
It shows you in the theme.
Yeah.
Which is one of the most beautiful themes
we'll talk about
I've
the music.
seen.
We'll talk about the music. But so essentially they bring the ship down, everyone sees the ship, and that's kind of the jumping off point after the first episode. It's these 3 different groups of survivors are all trying to make their way back to the ship. They can see, everyone knows enough about the ship. They're like, oh, it landed. Someone pulled it down from orbit.
Sam and Ursula are very resourceful.
Right.
They could definitely take with what they got in the land and transform it. All these wild animals that they go through have wild properties. So many of these animals are made out of balloons.
Yes.
And
or helicopters, kind of.
Yeah, sometimes little helicopter
or light
things.
Bulbs.
Yep, and sometimes you have to cut open a big furry bear-like thing to reach in and get some glowing balls that are inside of it.
So, so that's basically the whole jumping off point. Is just 3 survivors are all trying to get back to the thing.
You have Ozzy, and she's doing really well with Levi's help. Levi is a robot that's
just a cargo robot. She's not like a robot. C-3PO or anything like that.
She's very versatile and you have technology on your side to build up. And she also had like a survivor cargo land in her as well. Mm-hmm. And then you have Cayman, who's just going insane, stuck in a tree that he can't get out of.
The first point, I'll jump in first and just say, this is 3 for me. I will say it turned into a 3 about episode 6.
Okay.
It was a strong 2 from the jump.
Yeah.
I'll say it's 12 episodes. I think everyone should watch this if this sounds remotely interesting to you. Watch the first 2 episodes. You're going to be hooked. Yeah. Because I'll say this, even after the first 2 or 3 episodes, I was hooked. I knew I wanted to finish it, but I was hooked at it too. It's just an interesting enough story. Yeah. And the way it's written and the animation is
beautiful world. Like, just the way it looks. Yes. A very interesting world, which just how everything, all the creatures are, all the plants are. Yeah. It's the type of sci-fi that I totally dig, which is, it's completely alien. It's unbelievably nonsensical, but it makes sense in its own world. Because everything feeds off of itself, like an ecosystem does.
So when it starts, you're with Sam and Ursula, and apparently this is based on a short film called Scavengers, that the 2 people that did this, Joseph Bennett and Charlie Hootner. Yeah. I don't know how to Huettner. Hootner.
You don't want me to try?
Nope, I don't. We don't need letters from Charlie Hootner telling you you're not allowed to say his name anymore. But they did a short film, and they kind of just took this, 2 series essentially. Mm-hmm. It starts with Sam and Ursula, and jumps you right in. There's this beast of burden looking thing, kind of like a weird alien cow. Yeah. And they show it, and they're cutting it open, and they pull 2 light bulbs out, and they smack them together, and then immediately it shows that where they had cut it open, that animal has scars there. Yeah. So you can tell they've been here. It's excellent show don't tell storytelling. Mm-hmm. They've been here a while. They know what they're doing. Yep. this is what this animal is for.
They have been working on this.
Yeah.
Yeah, they've been surviving like
Right.
this
So
for a while.
the pods that crash land, they had to jettison from the ship because the ship was failing and everything like that. The whole point is back on the ship, there are a bunch of people there still in stasis or cryosleep or whatever they call it in this universe. And they need to get back to the ship so they can wake those people up and hopefully get home.
Yeah.
The world of this, the greater world, the universe of this is very sparsely talked about. It's just they work for the company.
Yeah.
It's not a whole lot of, oh, we've got to get back to Earth, or ever since we started mining the Kuiper Belt. It doesn't spoon feed you what this
The only thing
is going on in this universe.
These are all part of the Demeter,
Right.
and like some of them have like very loose relationships with each other, and some of them like don't even know each other. It's such a big ship
And
type situation.
Right, it's a big cargo ship. More than half of the people are probably in cryosleep.
Yeah.
And it's a long haul thing. It's not like it's a battleship or a military thing. They were going to pick up some cargo, undefined cargo, and bring it back. And in the opening episode, when their ship goes offline, they show, I think it might be the opening scene, they show people back in the company working for them, and it's literally just written off. We're like, oh, we lost contact with Demeter 227. They're like, oh, sucks for them.
Yeah.
It's like, do you want to go after them? If anyone survived, they're like, they better hope they didn't. You're just like, oh, so this faceless corporation doesn't give a shit about these people.
Big surprise.
Yeah, and so it's that kind of
something
future
that you can understand.
it's that kind of future where it's just like, hey, if you're out in space by yourself, fucking good luck.
Yeah.
Like, it reminded me a little bit of The Expanse that
big
Chris
good luck
recommended
stuff.
for it.
Yeah, very true. Chris likes this stuff, doesn't he?
It's good sci-fi. I mean, man's got a good...
But I love this show, like incredibly, so much.
So I love the voice acting's great. The animation is fantastic. It's such a what was the name? Vesta is what the name of the planet that they're on.
Oh.
And it's very interesting. Everything on this planet sucks.
Yeah.
It's not like in Star Wars rules of planets.
Yeah.
Star Wars has, and I love Star Wars, so this isn't a critique. Star Wars just uses it as a narrative device. There's a desert planet, there's a snow planet, there's a fire planet. It's like levels.
And all of these planets are humanoid conquested already.
And it's not like it's levels in Mario. It's you go to the grass planet, and then there's a big city planet,
There's
and everything
a cloud
like that.
planet.
Yeah. And in this, the whole planet just sucks. Everything is trying to kill you. There's weird goo monsters, and it starts out with, I think my favorite group of the survivors were Ozzy and Levi.
Yeah.
Ozzy's just kind of a no-nonsense. She seems very capable. I think she was like a mechanic on the ship.
She was. Oh, I was
Cargo specialty. Yeah. And she's with Levi the robot, who's voiced by Alia Shawkat.
Yeah, right.
Who does great. People know her from. I knew her first from Arrested Development,
right?
Where she was Maybe, which was probably the best secondary character in that entire show. And
she does great.
She's fantastic. She does a lot of voice acting. I think she might have done Tinkerbell for a while.
Oh, dude, you got me.
You
got a daughter.
Yeah, I mean,
you tell me, man.
Good job pointing that out. So, like, you guys remember the mid-2000s Tinkerbell movies, right? But they were kind of the great thing, the relationship between those two, because Levi the robot it's shown in the first episode that she's changing. Like, the environment is doing something to her. They pop open her thing.
The first thing that they do is Ozzy finds her wrench buried in the dirt, and she's like, Levi, like, why would you do that? Like, I put my tools back. Why would you just bury it? And Levi, as a robot, just goes, I don't know.
Yeah, because she is just a robot. She's not like a C-3PO that has like a personality or anything. They were meant to be on the ship to load the cargo.
Just keep working on cargo. Yeah.
Like those Boston Dynamics robots.
Levi isn't her name. Levi is the type of robot that she is.
Exactly.
There's plenty of Levis on that.
It's like if her name was Blender.
Yes.
Bender. That would have been a better
Blender?
thing. Bender.
Flexo.
Yeah. So she's great in that she's changing as a robot. So the three dynamics were Ozzy and Levi, and that's kind of growing into this world, and Ozzy kind of figuring more out about the world with what's going on with Levi. Then there's Sam and Ursula, and that's kind of the I don't want to say cliche archetype, but they're the survivors trying to get back to the ship. He's the captain trying to do.
That was my favorite because I love their dynamic between each other.
Yeah.
And how they react to what's going on the planet and how they need to survive.
Every episode, something's just fucking trying to kill him.
It's my favorite thing about the show is
so gross.
You have to play by the planet's rules.
And the planet doesn't give a shit.
And the planet is wildly unpredictable.
Yeah.
My favorite part was just these birds that just run and grab you and put you on their back where they have these arms that hold on to you, and then they shoot up this cave that shoots right all the way up into the like next level of the planet,
like a warp pipe.
Yeah.
It puts you out,
and it does it so fast.
Yeah,
it's like, what was that?
And there's little mysteries. I think one of the most intriguing things is whenever an animal dies on this planet, this weird white flower grows out of it, and it starts glowing. And everything on this planet is sort of electric or biomechanical, or some of them have weird powers like cloning powers, mind control powers,
telekinetic.
So that's the thing that I texted Jake after I watched the first 3 episodes of this. And in Cayman's storyline, he's trapped in a escape pod by himself that he can't get out of.
Yeah.
And then at his window, just this weird black and white. It's a Hypnotoad.
Yeah, like a Hypnotoad boy.
A Futurama reference.
With telekinetic powers.
And there's something about it. Well, it's a Hypnotoad. The Hypnotoad
can hypnotize you.
Right.
It cannot telepathically move you.
First of all, I've always said firmly on this podcast, all glory to the Hypnotoad. I've been firm on that belief for years. And I don't know what it is, but it's the most disturbingly animated thing I think I've ever seen.
Yeah.
Just because it's just the face and it's black and white in the eyes, it kind of has like a weird gray alien vibe to it.
Yeah, but it has grays where you can't really understand it.
Right, but you can tell it's thinking for some reason. And I know it's animated; it's not really thinking.
The show Don't Tell is done incredibly amazing.
This show does it so great, better than most things.
Alien,
yeah,
because you get right fast what those aliens do, and it's weird, and it's kind of like. I would never have guessed that that's how the relationships work with things. And then you get it about this specific alien of that alien race.
Yes.
You know?
And you get to kind of see interspecies dynamics between all the different things. And it's never one of those things where it's like, sometimes in sci-fi they do this, it's like, oh, that's the blundercatch or whatever, and they have like weird names for all the aliens. It's just like, they don't know what's fucking going on here.
No.
Everyone's just making rules. They're trying to figure it out. They're like weird animals that heal themselves automatically. You said it right. I mean, it's a cliche. It's alien, but it's fucking... it doesn't play by the rules of regular aliens.
The theme of it, the theme song,
yes,
and just the intro, captures the emotion of this show perfectly, where it's beautiful and horrifying all at once. What's going on is incredible and awesome to watch, but also like... Wow, that's terrifying.
Yes. It's gross. I hated this planet
immediately.
I hated this planet so much. At one episode, I think it's episode 2 or 3, there's a storm coming in. And you're like, all right, it's a big storm. But then the storm shoots fucking razor blades for some reason. That's just like cutting people. And they see all the other animals running. And light spoiler, they're like, how do we get out of this? And one group of survivors is like, oh, look at these weird snail slugs that are in the ocean. Let's climb into its weird snail slug mouth. And then it'll protect us.
Yes, Ursula, so cool.
Yeah.
Because she's one that can look at what's going on and pick it up real quick. Because she just sees these weird slug straws come into the beach and start sucking up the balls. And she's like, it's putting in its young for protection. Get in there.
Get in its slug mouth.
Like, wow, that's great.
It's so fucking crazy.
Oh, my gosh.
And so from a technical standpoint, the show, animation, you could tell it was done on a budget. But also it was kind of the art style.
I wouldn't say that. Yeah, I would say that it's because they wanted something that felt more frame by frame than something like cell or computer animated.
Yeah.
And I think it captures it so well.
You can definitely see how this is the studio that gave you Metalocalypse and Venture Brothers, which is another... Venture Brothers was another previous rec. I enjoyed this so much more than I enjoyed Venture Brothers.
Venture Brothers is so good.
This is so much better. And it's... The animation... It kind of reminded me a little bit of Rick and Morty, just in the way that everything's gross, but it does something, and for some reason it's functional.
It's got
in
the
its own
sci-fi elements of a Rick and Morty.
Rick and Morty's great about that too, where they do like weird worlds that are just like, yeah, that's just how it works here. So fucking figure it out.
This one doesn't feel so Pickle Rick about it.
No, and it's not. I mean, they've said in Rick and Morty specifically, everything's supposed to look like genitalia because like everything's like either a dick or boobs
this one
or
feels
something.
like the planet was thought about.
Yeah,
like every moment, all the creatures interact with each other and survive.
Right.
Based on all other creatures.
What I was thinking about was it'd be kind of like if you're watching Planet Earth without any narration telling you what's going on. And you're just watching like one of those like crabs that lives up by the vents in the bottom of the ocean, and it like climbs into the big anemones, but there's fire underwater. And if you didn't have a British voice telling you what was going on, you'd just be staring at it like, what the fuck is is this our planet? Like, does this happen here all the time?
Yeah.
And it's nuts because it doesn't give you that, because it puts you in the shoes of someone that's on that planet.
Yeah.
You have, or the characters have a lot more knowledge than you do, and no one's spoon feeding you anything. You do get further on characters that know more than they let on, and then some of the different characters grow a lot more, and yada, yada, yada. Storyline's beautiful from a technical standpoint. Going back to the animation, okay. Sound design, fucking phenomenal.
Okay.
All the animals sound so weird and so gross. Everything's goopy and just making like slurping noises. It's like I was watching it. I was doing dishes and I had it playing on my phone, and I had my Raycon wireless earbuds, another potential sponsor, and it was just gross noises. Gross noises like in my ears, and I had to like take them out. I'm like, this is fucking disgusting. When that little hypnotoad starts making noises, I'm just done.
Well, a lot of stuff is gross.
It's a gross planet.
That was a great sentence. I'm so happy about myself.
Yeah, you should.
But it's I think the animation's incredible. I think the soundscape is incredible. I think the performances are incredible.
Great voice acting.
The only thing that I think keeps me from wanting a second season is the world. It kind of makes sense now after 12 episodes.
Yeah.
It's going to lose that mystery that kept me watching it.
And I will say
this whole time.
There is the through line of having that, but it is broken up very well where you can watch one episode and you will want to watch the next one, but you can put it down. It's not like pausing a movie where you have to like jump back into it. And there's no big recaps at the beginning where it's like previously on this. Like it jumps you in. It's reminded me kind of the faraway shots of it, the landscape and the wider shots. A little bit of Miyazaki influence on that, especially like on the plains and all the weird
colors of it are definitely and so bright and poppy like a Miyazaki.
Right, you'll see like weird snail cows just walking around, or they're riding on top of some fungus monster for no reason whatsoever.
Yeah,
and it's gorgeous to look at, but it's some of the best drawn sci-fi I think I've seen in a long, long time.
Yeah,
just making things gross and beautiful.
Yeah. Definitely.
Off-putting.
That's exactly what I would say it is.
That little fucking Hypnotoad's going to give me nightmares.
I loved him so much.
The Hypnotoad?
His face is so...
It's the worst.
Bitchy. He's got such a bitchy little face. It's like, when it just...
It's condescending.
It comes out as a surprise, and he still has that condescending face. I was laughing every single time.
Looks like a fat, judgmental toddler. Just staring at you with like dead eyes.
All that's missing is chocolate around his mouth.
Right.
I loved it so much.
Like if Harry Potter's prick brother was a gray alien. Like it just has this shitty look on his face the whole time.
Darn it. It was so good.
Just an entitled little alien shithead. I fucking hated that alien so much. I wanted it to die often.
I cannot recommend this show enough.
No, I think it's great too. And it's one of those recs, like we've said before, if you don't get it, I get it.
Yeah.
Like, it's not for everybody, but if you like sci-fi, if you want some not adult animation for adults though, it's great. Storytelling's great. Sci-fi's on point. It makes logical sense. It kind of gave off vibes a little bit. Did you ever watch the Ewok Adventures?
Why would I do that?
So you never watched...
what is that?
They made Ewok movies. One of them was called Caravan of Courage, and the other one was just Ewok Adventure.
No, I haven't.
So they're on Endor, and it kind of like gives that vibe. So that's the
you like Ewok Adventures.
How have you never seen the Ewok movies?
Have you met me? Do I look like a Star Wars guy?
So they're on Endor, where the Ewoks live.
Yeah.
Ewoks are the little bears. How far into this do I need to walk you through before I can
Here's
go
my
on?
thing. Chewbacca is an
Stop.
8-foot-tall monster.
First of all,
They
he's not a
come from
monster.
Kashyyyk.
He's a Wookiee.
Why is he doing living on Endor with a bunch of little teddy bears?
He wasn't. And
That
also,
is from South Park.
he abandoned his wife and child during Life Day and his weird grandpa. Star Wars Holiday Special. It might have been a recommendation for you this week if I could have found physical copies of it.
I wouldn't want that.
No, but I would have done it to you out of spite. So anyway, in Caravan of Courage, I believe it is. There's
Never
this
mind,
weird,
B. Arthur's in that. I would love it.
Yeah, she's not in it for long, and it's weird. So there's this weird lake that, like, if you swim under it, it traps you from underneath. Like, you could pass through it from the top, but underneath it's solid, so you can't get up to get air. And, like, one of the kids gets, like, trapped underneath. And they have to, like, pull him out with a stick because the stick, like, go through and everything like that. But it really reminded me of that, where it's just like you're in a strange world and everything's going to fucking kill you.
Yeah.
I guarantee these guys have seen Caravan of Courage. But like I said, I can't recommend it enough. I think it's beautiful. One of the texts you sent to me, it said like beautifully horrific or something like that.
That's what I keep saying.
There's some legit scary, or not
in the
jump scare.
I keep going back to the intro because I think this is one of the most glorious intros.
Gorgeous.
But you're just watching the escape pods going into the atmosphere while this beautiful orchestral range is just building, and you just watch one of them explode.
Yeah.
That's horrifying.
Yeah.
That's like dozens of people dead right there.
There's some in the first episode. You go to one of the escape pods that didn't make it, and it just has this vibe. I think it's Ursula says to Sam, she's like, "We have to go to Pod 5," and he just has this immediate weight. And like I said, show don't tell, which I'm doing a great job of telling all the time. So it's an audio medium, so I'll let myself slide.
Yeah.
But you just see in Sam, there's this weight where he's like, "I don't want to do that," and you're like, "There's so much fucking backstory."
Yeah.
And it pays off well. I think the characters are great.
The weight of everything. I think Sam has a fantastic character arc. From what he was at the beginning to what he turns into.
Yeah.
Is awesome. And there's no bad apple in the bunch. Everybody was awesome in this show.
It's for that gross little Hypnotoad.
Oh, he's one of my favorites.
God damn it, man.
I love that guy. I swear to you.
If they make a plushie of that, I'll buy it for you.
That and that ugly monkey thing that's there for
With Ozzy?
all of 2 minutes with Ozzy.
Yeah.
Absolute, just a solid monkey.
I gotta say, some of the animals are just fucking. There's one animal that like you see a bunch, doesn't do anything, but it's a weird fox-looking thing that has like tendrils coming off its face. It's cute as shit, but it just like runs in and out. And I was like, I'd like more of that instead of the gross stuff. I think my favorite character was Levi. I think just a well-written robot.
Yeah.
In the
Awesome robot.
in the first episode, Ozzy kind of tells her, you need to adjust your threat sensors because she blows up a flare and she's like, hey, we're running out of flares. So can you turn down your threat sensors? So Levi gets taken by these weird snail cow things. And Ozzy runs up and she finds Levi getting torn apart by these snail cows. And she's just being a robot like, can you stop?
Yeah.
Stop it, please. Please stop.
He's like, I put it up way too high.
Yeah. Just turn its threat sensor down. And then Ozzy shows up and she's like, Levi. And he's like, oh, hello, Ozzy. I'm just like, it's kind of like a Data from Star Trek vibe.
Yeah.
With just like the no emotions. But just
buddy.
fucking top notch. Top notch sci-fi.
You
It's
rang
good.
a bell in my head.
Oh, God. Can I unring it?
Yeah, no.
Oh, God damn it.
You got a new wreck coming your way. Not tonight, but it
Sometime
will.
soon.
Something's in the works for you.
So, Scavengers Reign on Max. Can't recommend it enough. Great. Thank you. I never would have found this, and I've talked to people people in my day-to-day life when they ask, what are you doing for the show? And I'm like, oh, it's this new animated sci-fi series on Max. Everyone's like, what?
Yeah.
Scavengers Reign. What? And I had to go deep in my app to find it. I had to type it in. It wasn't in like the recommended for you or the featured or anything like that. It's just on the platform.
I'm pretty sure it was on mine as a recommendation.
Well, we have different algorithms, but
Mine is a picture of Guy Fieri.
oh,
My
on
profile.
HBO. So yeah, Scavengers Reign on Max. Everyone should watch that. Speaking of things on Max,
I'm also on your Peacock.
Yeah.
And you can choose the profile pictures in there. And I saw AC Slater, and I
Saw
chose that, and I chose the name AC Slater because I want somebody like your mom, if she uses it, to be like, how does Taylor know AC Slater?
And why is Mario Lopez calling himself AC Slater?
Why wouldn't he?
Fair enough. I mean, you got a good point there. All right, let's get into my recommendation for Jake, which is the documentary Love Has Won, The Cult of Mother God.
Yeah.
So I recommended this to Jake because I thought it would make him very upset, and I was just kind of bored. So one of the things that you recommended a couple weeks ago that this kind of reminded me of was you recommended the Folding Ideas documentary on YouTube.
Yeah.
In Search of a Flat Earth.
Right.
Which kind of went into cult and people believing weird shit and everything like that.
How that type of situation
starts. Had you heard of this cult?
Yes, I actually have. From another podcast years ago.
Yeah.
And it was something that was like the podcast does like a short news blurbs.
Yeah.
Sometimes. And one of them was Mother God, and how she has a stream now, and how she worked at McDonald's, and like that's all we know, and like that's something we'll keep an eye on. And then it kind of fell off my radar after that.
So this cult, the cult is called Love Has Won. It was started by a woman named Amy Carlson, who, like Jake said, used to work at McDonald's. For all accounts, he talked to her family a little bit in this, and she was a normal girl. Had her issues with men in the past and some bad relationships. She had some kids young, things like that. Her life kind of went off the rails. And eventually, she decides to start this movement called Love Has Won, where she decided that she was Mother God.
So she took a lot of acid.
She took a lot of acid.
One time, and it really changed her head to starting to look into spirituality.
A real Sid Barrett situation where she took enough where it broke her.
This is when internet was starting to be more consumer friendly.
Yes.
So they were. It was so cool to see all these Angel Fire websites about spirituality. You have no idea the nostalgia trip I was on.
Yeah,
watching that shit.
She started it in like 2007.
But
was when she like went off the rails.
But she was looking into spiritualities, checking out all these weird websites that talk about it, and she ends up connecting with this one hippie about it, and actually meeting him in real life, and then eventually like marrying this hippie,
which he is right out of Central Casting for old hippie.
Yes,
just gray ponytail.
Yeah,
like
the first
the whole
Father
thing.
God looks exactly like what a hippie is supposed to look like,
and the first Father God should be a clue for
how many there's coming. So from there, they started to rely on their spirituality, as in any type of cult that starts, is you start selling people your idea of what a free and healthy life is, which is she had a vision that she is actually God. God is not a man. God is actually a woman. And
Mother God
is God. So she's Mother God.
Yeah, not a representation of God, not a prophet of God, not anything like that. She is God incarnate.
She is God.
On the planet.
Yes.
Which, whenever anyone tells you that, red flag.
Red flag.
Immediately.
Yes.
They got to come with receipts for that.
I mean, I would like some proof.
Yeah.
And
letter of recommendation.
Just a miracle.
Yeah.
And from there, especially being so new to the online scene, is something that you can build a cult around.
Yes.
Being one of the first people to actually flood the internet with messages about, like, we can save you, we can help you, and also our doors are open. Like, if your life is down the tubes right now, just come on out to, I believe they were in Colorado at the time, and we will take you in immediately.
And this is they picked up steam at the 2008 financial crisis when a bunch of people lost a bunch of shit and were looking for things like this. And whenever there's hard times, that's when cults and charlatans and con men and things like that spring up.
Yes.
Like always.
There's people that had money and had enough money to broaden their reach, to get more people to come in, to get more money.
Yeah.
You know. And I'll tell you, this documentary gets a 3 from me.
Ooh.
Yes.
I'll take it.
I love cults.
Yes.
And well, I don't love them. I'm fascinated by them.
Yeah.
And this one is particularly fascinating.
It's a bit of an anomaly as far as cults go.
Because it's a very tragic from the beginning, of course, but it becomes a hell of her own making to the point where it's like almost every cult leader has this vision where the rules that they're making to get people to fall in line with them, which I think it's just natural to come up with these rules. When you have people following you, you just come up with stuff that's like, oh yeah, don't go out to your family, don't go see other people that'll tell you I'm a bad person.
Right.
Stick with me.
Yeah.
And then
stay in the echo chamber.
Yeah, and then you get sick and you're like, I need like outside help. And you're like, you're playing with us, Mother God.
Yeah.
This is a trick. You're not going to get hospitalization. And she's like, please, for the love of God, me. And they're like, nope, not going to fall for it.
So it is, the cult was kind of based on sex, drugs, and for one person, death metal.
Yes.
And so to give a little broader context, I think everyone should watch this. Now that I know it's a 3 from Jake, we can go into depth. And it's not like spoilers because
there's no spoilers because it's just...
It's a thing that happened.
I will say, watch this documentary for the story because it's told very well.
Great documentary. It's 3 45-minute episodes.
I will say that it feels a little biased sometimes when they're trying to find out why she would be like this.
Yeah.
Where they would bring up like she had bad relationships with men before.
Yeah.
So like, of course, she still has it. Where that stuff just feels more like implied.
Yeah.
When it's not based in anything that's like proven factual.
Right.
But we can't do it because she's dead.
She's dead. So the documentary starts out with police body cam footage of going into the compound, and you see a bunch of hippies in like a weird hippie house, and they're like, hey, we're looking for
they
Amy.
Talk to
and
Father God Jason,
right?
And the third Father God, and they're like, how many people are in this house, Jason? And he's like, well, there's me, there's 3 girls in there, and there's Mother God, but she has rested,
right?
And you're like, oh, I get what he's saying. It's like, oh yeah, he's not saying.
And
he didn't say resting.
she's a blue mummy.
She's blue.
She's a blue mummy. She's dead
and
at this
mummified.
point. And I'm not trying to like belittle people that died because it does sound like this woman had kind of a rough life and kind of had a rough go at the end of it.
No,
and
because I think that like this cult is something that totally got away from her.
Yes, and they bring that up in the documentary.
And where she just loves attention, which who doesn't?
Fair.
And she was building off of this, and she had this out of body experience. She got really spiritual with it, which means it inflated her ego to the point where, especially having other people telling you that you're Mother God, and you're like, yeah, I'm great, I'm great, I'm beautiful, I'm wonderful. That just enveloped her, and you can't see the end when you're on this super duper high.
No.
So I don't blame her for what happened to her,
Yeah.
That's a very human response, everything that she did. And that's what got me so hard is that she's pretty average human being. She had average aspirations. She was above intelligence, above normal intelligence, I would say.
And charismatic as shit.
Charismatic, beautiful, and, seems like a hoot to be around, a partier, and...
Big time.
The only thing that sucks is she accidentally let this thing get away from her.
So a couple of the other characters that get brought in, at the very end of the first episode, you meet the third Father God.
Jason.
And he's set up immediately as the bad guy. He's set up as the bad guy because he sits down for the interview with no shirt on.
Yeah.
He's in a motel room. They view in on his court-ordered monitoring bracelet where he calls in to his person, hey, just letting you know that I'm here. I'll be
at this hotel for 3 days, just updating my address so you don't know, so you won't wonder what's going on.
So obviously, and some of the other cult members, the thing that I thought was fascinating about this was they're talking heads with like Amy's family, and then with some local people that lived around where the cult was active, some detectives, journalists, everything like that.
Journalist that described herself as half redneck, half hippie.
Yeah.
And I was like, I totally understand you.
I know those people.
I love that. Yeah.
And
I am those people.
There's members of the cult that are still in it.
Yeah.
This is a thing that's still going.
Well,
they do live streams.
No, they basically got away from it, but they're not saying that she's not God.
Right.
Because that's the other thing. These people are so, distraught. They were thrown out from their societal normalcy.
Right.
To go for this cult, and then this cult is gone now. Their figurehead is gone. You can't just be like, okay, I'm coming back. That's exactly what they're doing, because a lot of them are like reaching back out to their families and stuff. Hope, really, the girl, the younger girl, Hope, she resonated with me a lot because
she's the one that left after she became like the caretaker.
No, she's still doing.
Oh, the guy lady that does the streams and shit. Yeah.
Yes, the younger one.
Yeah,
but she was just like, she had a phase where she was like, "Fuck you, mom," and then she went away. She got into this cult where she ran into somebody calling themselves your mother, and then saying, "You are beautiful. You do no wrong, and I love you, and you help me out so much." She was getting that validation that she wants, and then you can see that I really care about this stuff.
Oh yeah,
and she. She's just a good person.
Yeah.
And you could see that in her, that she truly believed these things because she was taken advantage of for this thing. And it's just heartbreaking to see that, she built up this barrier that has to be breaking down now to get back to what we would call a normal lifestyle, which is just like having a relationship with your birth mother.
Right. And I think one of the things that I find fascinating with these documentaries is I try to figure out, I mean, it's just the skeptic in me about cults and things like that.
Yeah.
Where I'm like, how much of these people actually believe it, and how much of these people are it's just a con? Because there's one person in this that's clearly a con man.
Yes.
He's the guy who always says he's in charge of the money.
Yes.
He handles all the money. Whenever anybody wants money, he's like, no, I take care of the money. You don't need this. All the money's me.
He's the reason it's a cult.
Right. He's the reason it's a scam, because at some point they say
that's a great
he took
point.
like
He's the reason it's a scam.
$600,000.
He took $330,000 from him.
Okay. Sorry. It's still a lot of fucking money.
I just watched this thing, buddy.
Yeah. So, and when things go awry and Mother God is dead, and they are still with her corpse because they're waiting for her corpse to physically ascend.
Yeah.
And when he sees the dead body, that's when he calls the authorities. He's like, "Oh shit!"
Yeah, because they go back to his house.
The fan. Yeah,
and they're like, because they have no other place to go.
Yeah,
so
the
they go,
love house or whatever.
Because they see that he took out $300,000 from the bank, and they're like, "What is going on with him?" So they go from Oregon, which is where they were.
Waiting for the ascension. Back
to Colorado to that house that is that guy's house. I can't remember his name. I think it was Miguel.
Yeah,
I can't
something
remember.
like that.
And he comes back home and he's like, "Oh, hey, it's love is one people." And he's like, "Oh my God, there's a blue mummy in my bed."
Right.
And that's when he calls. That's when he takes the rest of the money out. He calls the cops on him.
Right.
And then
he declined to be interviewed for this, which means he seems like he got away with it.
Yeah.
And
I mean, what's there to get away with?
I think Father God is on court release because they said he crossed 5 state lines with a corpse, which you're not allowed to do.
So, like, even Jason, who is the evil one in here,
guy's a dickhead.
He's just a dickhead.
He's just a drunk dickhead.
He's not evil. He's just.
They did say it was kind of funny hearing people be like, "Well, Father God left us," and they're like, "Oh, he went to do meth." I'm like,
"Yeah,
that's not setting off any alarms when Father God's leaving to go do meth for the weekend."
Well, they believed that all drugs are medicine.
Right.
So
but the male is the bad thing, so that's meth, but she's doing acid and alcohol.
Yeah. But no, meth isn't the bad thing. Meth is still a medicine, and if you're good at using meth to cure yourself...
This guy seemed like he was great at doing meth.
I mean, this guy got away with a pretty sweet gig.
Yeah.
And
he's still there with FM, Father Multiverse.
Yes.
Which...
The second Father God...
Yeah, well, he was told he's not Father God, he's Father Multiverse.
Yes.
So, and they all call him FM. I'm like, dope nickname, dumb reason to have it. But FM is a pretty fucking cool nickname.
I feel for all of these people.
I don't feel for all of them.
I feel for all of them.
I feel for some of them.
Some of them, I mean, I would say not for Miguel. I can't remember his name. I'm so sorry.
Yeah.
But
he's going to write in next.
Yeah. He was there to just clearly take all these poor people's money.
Yeah.
But all these people are just lost people, a lot of them are just rejected from society.
Yeah.
And they just found a group of people. That's when you brought up, like, how many of these people are just faking it.
Yeah.
I'm sure, like, at least almost half of them are faking it, but they found people that love them for them.
Right.
And so they'll love them, That's my thing about cults is, especially like a hippie cult like this, is you show up and, I would, if I wasn't a skeptic at heart, I would be a part of this in a heartbeat.
Oh yeah,
because you
some
just
pretty
go to
lady
these
giving
people,
you booze and telling you how great you are.
I go to this pretty lady giving me booze, and I just go to her and I start giving her the craziest things that I've ever said in my entire life about vibrations and higher society and how we just take the slide up. And then she's just saying, yes, 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 I believe you. Now you just stop talking for a second, start listening to my crazy shit.
Right.
And then I'm like, yeah, because you did it for me, I'm going to do it for you.
Yeah.
Instead of talking, like if I told you this shit, you'd just be like, Jake, shut up, that's stupid.
Yeah.
And I would be like, yeah, you're right.
That's most of this podcast is me saying, Jake, shut up, that's stupid. But I do, so what I'm saying, where you're just viewing this just as, like, not to make fun of it, just literally as a documentary, to look at it as a piece.
Yeah.
Because for all accounts, Amy was kind of not buying her own bullshit, and there are things that several people talk to her, they're like, or talk about her when they're saying, how did you get involved? And they all have the same story. It's the same sales pitch to all of them, where she's listening to them, like you were just saying. Then she'd be like, you're brilliant.
Yeah.
And there's like 3 different people that are like, and then she looked at me and said, you're brilliant. And no one's ever told me that before. And I'm like, okay, so it's a sales pitch that she's doing to get people into it.
I just feel like it's hurt people.
And
that she's attracted to her.
Fucking Manson did the same thing.
Exactly.
It doesn't mean that he's like an anti-hero.
Right.
But she was...
Mother God didn't go and tell people to go and kill people.
And Mother God also, what some of you might have noticed that we said she's a blue mummy.
Yeah.
She was drinking colloidal silver.
Yes.
Which is one of those new age things that's been widely debunked.
Yeah.
I remember, I forget what happened. I think it might have been early days of pandemic when that came up again, where like colloidal silver's like a thing. And I remember I had like a little dropper of it, and I put like 2 drops under my tongue. And I was just like,
you tried it?
Yeah, I was like, this is fucking gross. It just tastes like a penny in your mouth. I was like, why would people fucking do this? And that was 2 drops. And I remember looking at the bottle, and they're like, don't put more than 2 drops of this in your body. This lady was drinking a ½ liter a day of silver.
Yeah.
To the point where she was dying from alcohol.
Yeah.
It was clearly that she was having alcohol-related systems of liver failure, everything like that, heavy metal poisoning, everything like that, like just nutso life. And what you were saying about her getting in too deep when she was saying things, and this girl says, unironically, she's like, oh, she wanted us to take her to a 3D hospital.
Yeah.
Because they live in 5D.
Yes. Yeah.
And this girl's, while she's driving back to see her mother, like you alluded to, she's like, look at all these 3D people living their life. I'm like, it's like a Schrodinger's cat thing, where it's like, would she be like this if there weren't cameras on her? Or is she putting it on because...
I totally agree with her.
Yeah.
I totally agree with her. When she's driving around and you just see this cul-de-sac of the same houses everywhere, and she just look around, she's like, just look at all these 3D people.
Right.
And it's like, I get what you're saying, because that's the society that has rejected her, or that she rejected it.
Yeah.
Either or. Now she has to go back into it. And now she's like, God damn it. Right. And so I'm like,
Mother
I get
God
you.
damn it.
Yeah.
Also, it's
Nice.
a lady cult. Like, that's not something you see often.
No.
Yeah.
You don't really see a woman.
And it doesn't have like,
it
really doesn't have the strong, like,
and like they said, it was when Father God Jason shows up, that it starts really becoming a kind of a really crappy place to be.
But Father God's still out there with FM.
It's going to be a bad place anyway.
Yeah. Well.
Because alcohol is fun, but it's not going to keep you around.
No, because They had like little charts where it's like, she needs this much in the morning, and then it's like, oh, this is all medicine.
There's
I'm
a
like,
saying for this where it's you take a drink, and then the drink takes a drink, and then you die. That's alcoholism.
Mm-hmm.
You're not gonna be fine with 3 beers a day.
Right, and then drinking a ½ liter of silver on top of it doesn't help.
And then all this bullshit medicine that comes up.
Right.
That's the stuff that's scary and awful, and that's the part that I hate about this rejection is, we see these people and we tell them, oh, you're just stupid and crazy, and they're like, we're not going to listen to you because you're mean to me. Where I just want to be like, that's cool. You're experiencing your higher self and you're doing your hippie stuff, and I applaud you for it. It's fun to seek out.
It did seem like they weren't hurting anybody.
Please don't put silver in your body. Please don't do that. It's going to kill you.
And I said they didn't seem like they were hurting anybody, but similar to that documentary, the Folding Ideas thing, it took a weird alt-right turn.
Yeah,
and right? That came out of left field because they're just these hippies.
Yeah,
they're
straight up
dancing.
hippie.
They're talking about Mother God and creation and all this.
I mean, like, Trump, when are you going to come and pick this woman up?
And then it goes full QAnon to like Trump's coming back, that he's going to be on the spaceship.
Q stands for Queen, which is Mother God.
How does it always come back to that?
And it was just it's about taking advantage of vulnerable people.
And that's why I'm saying that was when it goes from peace, love, and hippies to Q's going to kill all the deep state pedophiles. I was just like, all right, so are you falling into a secondary cult, or are you just jumping on what's culty now so you can get, because they're still doing live streams, still getting donations, still sell. They had merch. They had supplements. They went full InfoWars, Alex Jones, where you could buy your own shit.
Yeah.
Your herbal supplements
doing the
and shit
label,
like
that. Damn holistic healing stuff.
So I'm like, I don't believe someone that is that business savvy is also fully believing that there's one Mother God and she wants everyone to be happy, because I buy what the Hare Krishna monks that are like giving flowers and giving things to people for free, and like the Buddhism. Yeah, those guys are about it because they're not also trying to sell you supplements on the internet.
Yeah,
if the Dalai Lama came out with a thing of like special healing herbs that you can buy for $29.99 and do that, I'd be like, that Dalai Lama guy's probably full of shit.
Yeah, it can have like a Skype healing session, Skype
over
with
Skype
somebody.
with him, and
I'm like, that's exactly. Now I just want my money.
Yeah,
I don't appreciate the hustle of something like this. I'm such a hippie at heart, and it's like seeing this stuff is something that I totally gel with. I get it to my core. I get it, but.
Yeah, it's comment and capitalism get brought in.
Easy to get taken advantage of.
God, it's fun though.
Because when somebody tells you, that Trump's helping you, and then you're just a vulnerable little hippie, you're like, hell yeah, he's helping me.
You'd think those two wouldn't go hand in hand,
but
doesn't.
God
damn it, they do.
For some reason, they're like, Mother God is Trump. Yeah. Also, Robin Williams. Robin Williams died.
We did bring that up. Robin Williams is a big part of this.
Yeah, we didn't even bring up Robin Williams being a huge part of this.
So the Mother God talks to a bunch of dead celebrities and celebrities that aren't dead. They have this vision board of all the people that Mother God communicates with.
Yeah,
and like some of them
goes to sleep. She's not sleeping. She's communing with.
And some of them are still alive. And by go to sleep, they mean she passes out from drinking all day. Too much. And then she'll wake up and say things like, Robin came to me last night, and he's mad at you for what you're doing.
She just uses Robin Williams as an excuse to be the upset drunk.
It's a very eclectic cult.
It became a Jim Jones thing, where the drugs have gotten to you and you're pissed off because your cult's not going the direction that you wanted it to.
Well, once the feds show up, cult's kind of done.
So you're pissed off all the time, and now, but you sold yourself as the lovable one, the sweet one. So you can't do that, and you're like, oh, Robin Williams is so mad right now.
Yeah,
and they're like, oh shit, Robin Williams is in it right now.
It's such a fucking weird cult.
Gosh darn it, man.
Yeah,
it's a fascinating one to say the least.
Yes,
I can't believe the size that it got.
Can't believe it's still going.
I hope the best for them. Please, I hope for the best.
Well, yeah, you hope it's not the worst. The worst is Jonestown, Waco nonsense. Like
Hope's mom is somebody that I cared about a lot. Yeah. I think it was Hope or Faith. I can't remember exactly which one. Ashley is her real name, I believe. But that was just another person that was just a normal mom who was just cared about her daughter.
Yeah.
And she's like, I didn't want to start a whole club thing debunking a cult. Yeah. He's like, but I love my daughter.
Right. And there is, there's sad thing that Amy had kids and her kids are in this.
Yeah.
And, she left them.
Yeah.
Just fucking high and dry to go start a cult.
Yeah. They were like, we thought she was going to come back.
Right.
And it was like, she just left in a manner that seemed like she would just be back tomorrow.
She's drinking Jack Daniels and liquid silver.
Yeah. So that's just so messed up.
So weird.
But you're so close to the hippie ideal. It's insane to me.
You just kind of cross that little bridge, and it's just like, yay.
Yeah.
Ugh.
Every time.
These are two
Every time.
upsetting recommendations this week.
No, Scavengers Reign is beautiful.
It's upsetting to me.
I love it.
It's so gross.
Absolutely love it.
So gross. This cult was gross, too. Except for that guy that got away with the money. Good for him.
Oh, man. She was so blue by the end, man.
So blue?
It was insane.
So blue.
Oh, boy.
So what did we learn this week? Don't drink silver.
Yeah.
Watch Scavengers Reign.
I'm going to surprise you. I already knew that. Don't drink silver.
My axiom to take away, never trust a hippie with a business
So
plan.
weird.
A hippie with
Yeah.
a business plan is
If a
an
hippie's
issue.
selling you something other than like cool blankets
Yeah.
or weed,
I ran into some hippies. Guy we know, kind of a hippie guy, running coffee.
Yeah.
Has coffee. Wants some coffee. Here's some free coffee.
yeah.
It's awesome.
I wonder if it's the hippie I know.
Probably.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah. So I love that kind of hippie. But then if he comes up to me and tries to sell me supplements that'll get my 5D disclosure life so I can ascend, I'd be like, bad hippie.
My hippie, I used to work with him. He just had a bunch of movie recommendations for me, and we
Gotta
talk
love
about
it.
movies. And then sometimes you throw in about how he was abducted by aliens, and then we would talk about that every once in a while.
Well, you got to bring
But
it up.
most of the
every now
time,
and
we
again.
are talking about wild, awesome movies.
Yeah. Jack Donaghy said it. Never go to a hippie with go with a hippie to a secondary location. That's what we've learned this week. All right. So thank you everybody for listening. If you want to get involved with the show, you can send us your recommendations or any comments or criticisms of Jake's accents to upyouralleypod@gmail.com, or you can send us a message on Instagram.
Give me a prompt. Give me a prompt.
a prompt.
Yeah, give me an accent prompt.
Okay.
Give me one. I want to see if I can do it.
Let's go with you're disappointed with the plumber
right.
being late for the appointment,
All right.
but you're Russian.
Okay. All right. Russian. Why are you not on time?
It's not. It's not right.
Oh man!
Fuck. I'll get you one of these days.
If there's any Russians out there that want to tell me how bad I did,
We're gonna get emails from Bobby Fingers and Vladimir Putin.
oh man! Oh.
So yeah, be sure to follow us on Spotify. Spotify is the best way to follow us, and on Instagram and YouTube. Subscribe to the YouTube channel as well. That's all Up Your Alley Pod. Let's get into what we're going to be getting into next week. Jake, what do you got for me?
So, I got you a fun little YouTube.
Oh, I like YouTube
show.
YouTube.com.
YouTube.com. You remember the comedian Chris Gethard, I'm sure.
I do know Chris Gethard. I like Chris Gethard.
Chris Gethard had that show, the Chris Gethard Show, right? Which is like a
With
call-in
Chris
show
Gethard,
for fun. When he had it on cable and it was canceled, he went back to doing it for public access.
Yeah.
But he decided he didn't want to do the Chris Gethard Show anymore. He wanted to do Chris Gethard Presents.
Okay.
So you will be watching Chris Gethard Presents, which is other comedians take over his time slot and do fun things. Specifically, you are going to watch Mary Houlihan's episode,
Okay.
Enchanted Pumice.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Enchanted Pumice.
Uh-huh.
So that's
Mary
just
Houlihan.
Chris Gethard Presents is the YouTube
It's the
channel.
YouTube channel. Yeah.
It's actually Chris Gethard Presents 5376. That's weird.
5376?
Yeah, that's the at Chris Gethard Presents 5376.
What are you?
I don't know.
Okay.
Chris Gethard's a good guy. I saw him live once. He's fantastic.
He's awesome.
Yeah. So I'm going to be watching Chris Gethard Presents on YouTube. Jake,
Mary Houlihan,
I have-
Enchanted Pumice.
I have your Christmas present here. It's physical media for Jake.
Way!
It's a movie for you to watch.
Yay!
It's a Christmas movie.
physical media.
Physical media for Jake. I had to order it on eBay because it's not easy to find anymore.
Wow.
What if I were to tell you that this is the story of a con released from prison?
In the air?
No.
Oh, wait,
How's
he
that a
wasn't
Christmas
released
movie?
in the air.
How's that a Christmas movie?
I don't know.
So he's released, a man released from
No,
prison.
This movie.
Do you?
Oh, yeah, because I know who you are, and I know
man-
who your favorite actor is.
Is released from prison.
And you won't believe
he's
this.
held under duress to rob a casino on
Yeah.
Christmas Day.
Yeah.
I brought you a physical copy of the 2000 film Reindeer Games,
Yay!
starring Ben Affleck.
Yay! Charlize Theron's one of her first time out.
So this is an all Affleck April surprise in December for an all Affleck Christmas.
Oh, my gosh.
Jake's going to be watching the 2000 film Reindeer games.
It came up today in my YouTube watching. Reindeer
Yes?
Games did. Yeah, because they were doing a game.
Have you seen it before?
It was a movie game. No, I haven't.
Okay.
They were doing a movie game, and it was like you have to name these movies.
Yeah.
And they were on Ben Affleck, and they were on their third strike, and he was like, I want to get him out with Reindeer Games, because he doesn't know anybody else that was in Reindeer Games. And I was like, I know somebody. It was Charlize Theron. She was in Reindeer
Danny
Games.
Trejo's in it, too.
Damn.
And Gary Sinise.
I am excited to watch this.
It's not great, but...
I'm still excited. This is more, this is my speed right here, you know?
Yes.
The Phantom's speed of Ben Affleck.
It's so good.
So I'm in.
Do you want to take a guess on what Ben Affleck's character's name is?
John Deere.
No, it's called Reindeer.
Rudy.
It's Rudy.
Yeah, that's what we're talking about.
So we're going to talk about the Chris Gethard Presents next week's episode.
Games.
We're going to want to talk
I already want to talk about this based on the cover alone.
Isn't it a great Christmas present?
Yeah, dude, I'm excited. This is great.
Right. And then we're going to talk about Reindeer Games. Thank you, everybody, for listening. Jake, thanks for coming over. Love you, buddy.
Love you, buddy.
Bye.
Bye-bye.